Welcome to the Walking Through the Word podcast with Pastor Dale Everest. This journey through the scriptures is dedicated to helping you understand God's truth and how to live out that truth in confident faith and loving obedience. We pray this podcast blesses and empowers you as you advance His kingdom. Get ready for the Word to change you.
Well, hey everybody, Pastor Dale here. Welcome to another Walking Through the Word podcast. Our wisdom word for the week is Proverbs 14:27. All the days of the oppressed are miserable, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast. Again, Proverbs 14:27. All the days of the oppressed are miserable, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast. Here's our poetic paraphrase for the week. When you see things as a victim, your mind is never free. Your every thought is negative, your life a misery. But if you have eternal joy despite your circumstance, your heart will always eat its fill and your soul will always dance. Perspective, perspective, perspective. All right, we'll continue to meditate on the wisdom word for the week and memorize it as the Lord leads. Isn't that interesting, though? There are some people who go through hard times and they're just constantly miserable. No matter how many good times come, it's just, oh, you don't know, you don't understand the pain I've been through, the hurt I've been through. And then there are other people who are, their attitude is, man, God has brought me through so much, and I'm so filled with joy because of all He's done, and so filled with hope for all He will do. And perspective is an amazing thing. All right, our worship word for the week, Psalm 52, 6-9, and our Psalms reading today is 52, 8-9, so we'll just make our way through both of those. Verse 6, the righteous also shall see and fear, and shall laugh at him, saying, here is the man who did not make God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. But I am like a green olive tree in the house of God. I trust in the mercy of God forever and ever. I will praise you forever because you have done it. And in the presence of your saints, I will wait on your name, for it is good. Here is the man who did not make God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches and strengthened himself in his wickedness. Man, if that is not a description of the cult of celebrity, I don't know what is. People who just think that their confidence is in their talent and their wealth and their position and their prestige. And at the end, it doesn't mean anything. I've often thought that watching inductions into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, if there's anything, as my friend Rice Brooks says, if there's anything more irrelevant than a former pro athlete, there is nothing more sad and pathetic than an old, unrepentant rocker. It is just amazing. You know, at one time they're just prancing around. Now they do good to limp up on the stage. Well, listen, time's going to catch up with all of us. The question is, what is your confidence in? Is it in what you have, or is it in who you belong to? And if we belong to the Lord and put our confidence in Him, that's where true wisdom is found. All right, Proverbs. Proverbs 15, 12-14. Verse 12, a scoffer does not love one who corrects him, nor will he go to the wise. Yeah, you can always tell people who don't want to hear it, who don't want sound wisdom, don't want wise counsel. You know, my dear wife is just as sweet a person as you can possibly imagine. But I've always noticed that the women who avoid her are the women who do not want to hear the truth. And it's just such an obvious thing to me. She's sweet. If you can't receive the truth from my wife, you've got a real problem. But she's a truth speaker, and she doesn't butt in where she doesn't belong. But and on the other side of it, you can always tell the women who really do want to hear the truth and grow. They will seek her out, and women like her. So who are you? What are you? Are you a scoffer who hates people who correct you? Are you a person who avoids the wise at all costs? Or are you one who leans in and learns from the wise whom you love? A merry heart makes a cheerful countenance, but by sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. So that's kind of a twofold thing. We want to maintain a merry heart. That's what our wisdom word says, but a cheerful heart has a continual feast. But we also want to be sensitive to people who, for the moment, are broken. So we need to watch over our own hearts, and we need to watch over one another's hearts as well. And then verse 14, the heart of him who has understanding seeks knowledge, but the mouth of fools feeds on foolishness. Parents, help your kids. Help your kids to recognize when they're listening or looking at something that is just foolishness. There's so much stupidity in the world. There's so much that is just absolutely and utterly and totally ridiculous. Teach your children how to be discerning, and teach them how to lean into that which is good. All right, well, we move out of the Song of Solomon or the Song of Songs into the book of Isaiah. And let me read you something by way of introduction to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah was a man with a mission. The Lord had shown him a glimpse of his glorious throne and placed a call on his life. As a prophet, he spoke God's word. He spoke God's words. For the most part, these were words of confrontation, exhortation, and warning, words that made him extremely unpopular. But even when he faced opposition, Isaiah continued to stand up for the truth. The Lord had called him to warn the people of their headlong rush into disaster. The book of Isaiah records these prophetic words of warning, but it also records Isaiah's words of promise and hope. One day a Messiah would come and excuse me, and would save, comfort, and bless his people. Some people call the book of Isaiah a mini Bible. 66 chapters, 66 books in the Bible. 39 chapters, kind of representing the Old Testament, are mostly words of warning. And then 27 chapters of the Bible, 27 books, 39 books of the Bible, the Old Testament, 39 chapters of Isaiah, mostly warning, 27 books of the New Testament, and 27 chapters filled with hope and the promise of Messiah. And we come to verse 1 of chapter 1. It says, the vision of Isaiah the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its owner, and the donkey its master's crib, or the place where he's fed. But Israel does not know, my people do not consider. Alas, sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a brood of evildoers, children who are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord. They have provoked to anger the Holy One of Israel. They have turned away backward. Why should you be stricken again? You will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faints. From the sole of the foot even to the head, there is no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores, infected sores that have not been closed or bound up or soothed with ointment. Your country is desolate. Your cities are burned with fire. Strangers devour your land in your presence, and it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. So the daughter of Zion is left as a booth in a vineyard and as a hut in a garden of cucumbers. So God is saying to the people, you have forsaken me. Isaiah delivered God's message to the people of Judah and served as an advisor during the reigns of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah between approximately 740 and 700 BC. His prophetic activity focused around three major crises in Judah's history. First, in 734 BC, Rezin, king of Syria, and Pekah, king of Israel, joined forces against Assyria. They wanted King Ahaz of Judah to join them. Isaiah counseled Judah not to join the coalition. In chapter 7, between 714 and 711 BC, the ruler of the Philistines, city of Ashdod, led the Philistines to revolt against Assyria. Isaiah bitterly opposed any participation on the part of Judah in this rebellion. Third, in 702 BC, King Hezekiah of Judah revolted against Sennacherib, king of Assyria, who came to Judah and besieged Jerusalem. As in every crisis, Isaiah counseled faith in the Lord. This was a mighty, mighty man of God. In every possible way, the greatest prophet of them all. Come back to more of that tomorrow. Our word for the day, our warfare. Our warfare. 2 Corinthians chapter 10. Now I, Paul, myself, am pleading with you by the meekness and gentleness of Christ, who in presence am lowly among you, but being absent am bold toward you. But I beg you that when I am present, I may not be bold with that confidence by which I intend to be bold against some, who think of us as if we walked according to the flesh. For though we walk in the flesh, or in humanity, we do not war according to the flesh or human resources. For the weapons of our warfare, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. They're not of the flesh, but they are mighty in God. They're spiritual weapons for pulling down strongholds, casting down arguments, and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, bringing every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ, and being ready to punish all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. And then he goes on to say, do you look at things according to the outward appearance? If anyone is convinced in himself that he is Christ, let him again consider this in himself, that just as he is Christ, so we are Christ. For even if I should boast somewhat more about our authority, which the Lord gave us for edification and not for destruction, I shall not be ashamed. And he goes on to defend himself. And part of what Paul is saying is, what you are fighting is you are fighting spiritual enemies, and you need to fight them with spiritual weapons. We are fighting spiritual enemies, and we intend on fighting them with spiritual weapons. Why would they need to take every thought captive? Well, they were steeped, or their city was steeped in idolatry and immorality. But also, they were being tempted to think thoughts against. When we talked about commending the commended, they needed to be commending Paul and not condemning Paul. But condemning thoughts were being placed in them by spiritual wickedness. And Paul said, in every way, fight this warfare, which is spiritual warfare, by the word and by the Spirit unto victory. All right, more tomorrow. God bless you. We love you. Have a great day in Jesus.